Hey folks, Studio here, and welcome to the Season 3 patch. Now, of course, this is still preseason, but if you play League of Legends within the last week after IPL 5, let me just look around. Look around. Everything is fucked up. Everything is totally fucked up. And when I say that, I mean that everything is really, really weird, really, really chaotic, and for the most part, we have a grasp of what we think is going on. Hey, black cleavers are really good, but we don't know everything as a whole. People are discovering new tricks and shenanigans and silly things they can do with these new Season 3 patches. So let's start with just the obvious stuff. What's broken? Black Cleaver. Black Cleaver, it's getting nerfed on PvE. It is amazing. It is ridiculous. Teemo's very good himself. Part of this was that he was strong before, but now there are a few more items that kind of supplement him, so everything balances out. So, what do you do? How do you figure out what's really good in Season 3? Well, you play, you experiment, and if somebody does something that is totally broken to you, you do it back to them. We're going to be looking at a AP mid game, a Veigar game. I'm going to be doing a different video that breaks down what I think of Season 3, what I think happened to all the different roles, because frankly, the roles have dramatically changed in how they play and what they do. But let's go ahead to start with an AP mid game, just get back into the swing of things, and we can see a lot of the fun changes already. Now, really quickly, what pro players are saying this very second probably isn't right. This applies to literally everything, but there's something to remember. We have a lot more choice, so support is a good example of this. Supports can buy sight stones, they can rush philo stones, they can rush Cage's Lucky Picks. Do you go for the Twin Shadows, the spooky ghost item that sends out Ghost to slow, or do you go for the Blizzard item that has a slowing shield when you put it on somebody? Can't remember the item names off the top of my head. Too many new item names. It's like, what do you go for? Is Blade of the Rune King good on many people? Not many. It's good on Zed though. But we have choices. We have statements we can say that we think are right, and that's the big thing. We think it's correct. We think we have the right idea. But that can easily change as people discover more and more about the characters. For example, right now, Syndra is getting very trendy because you can build Mana Moon on her, which upgrades to a Mirror Mana when you max out the mana bonus. And when you do that, guess what? Every time she uses her ultimate, she does like 1 billion damage because it applies the proc. Oops, wrong one. There we go. So let's go ahead. We're going to jump into this game. This is a game between Curse and TSM. So we're going to be following Jacky in the mid lane. The reason I want to show this match is because the match I really want to show is currently bugged, and it featured the worst Baron fight I'd ever seen, but also this is a good match. This is a good way to look at how the changes can go. For example, people have been talking a lot about the Black Cleaver characters. Black Cleaver, if you don't know it, it's really damn good right now. It provides tankiness, damage, cooldown reduction, armor penetration. If you buy a Last Whisper and 1 to 2 Black Cleavers, you can more or less ignore all the armor an enemy champion has, which is pretty dumb, but that's getting nerfed, so that's obviously recognized. And the big thing for Season 3 is going for the obvious stuff, like make sure you read the changes, see what's clearly good, but at the same time, you kind of want to see what might not be as obviously good. Veigar, I think, is a pretty good example of this. I believe he had a small buff recently to Equilibrium. It might have been a while ago, might have been recent, but his mana regeneration is okay. And Veigar, I think, he's in that position where he can do a lot, and the items you can now purchase for Veigar give him a lot of really good options. In this patch, defense was more or less lower, damage is higher, and damage is more available, and it's hard to build against damage. So a character like Veigar, who primarily focuses on damage, it's going to be more powerful. Now, I've got my own theories of Veigar. I think Mirror Mana would be amazing on him too, because it would just make his burst even burstier. But as a whole, his kit, it synergizes with some of the item changes. For example, Deathfire Grasp, which Jacky will be building, it's no longer an extra nuke, but it is an extra nuke, but it doesn't scale. Instead, it's an extra nuke that will also amplify all magic damage taken. It's a keyword, all. So here, Curse, well, they were looking to defend, but they can't defend 3v2. Or they actually didn't know where Olaf was. And it was going to be 4v2 because Reginald was right there. But look at Jacky's starting item build. He has Flask, he has 5 health potions. This is becoming relatively common. You don't have to go three health potions anymore. That's not the norm. There is no norm. That's kind of one of the Season 3 changes. Now, watch how this lane goes. Jacky is going to take a crap load of damage. Reginald, he's pressuring high. He's going to try and hit level 2 first. With that, he just wants to go all in, try and get a kill. Jacky knows this. Jacky sees the threat. I mean, he takes the damage. He is down to 200 HP, takes the ignite, but doesn't blow fast, stays cool, and like he expected it. Staying far back towards his tower, he knows what Reginald wants to do. Whoops, direct camera's still on. Get out of there, you nerd. Now, if you're Veigar going up against Teemo has better sustained damage, especially early on, but you're going to have better burst, and more importantly, you're going to have a stun. So watch how this gank goes. So Reginald can't really escape, doesn't get stunned. That's important to note. He does not get CC'd, but the exhaust is enough, the ignite is enough. That's just a clean, easy gank. Now, what set that up? Well, obviously, when Reginald hit level 2 and aggressively, he attacked with Toxic Shot. Jacky could tell because he was taking more damage, and you can see the debuff on his bar. So he knew that Reginald did not have move quick. So it's kind of one of those situations where Teemo's normally very difficult to gank. Pre-6 it's tricky because of move quick, post-6 it's tricky because of move quick and the mushrooms, but at that point, hey, we knew he didn't have move quick, Curse knew they were safe, just go for it, go all in, go for that kill. Now, what does this mean? What does Crystalline Flask and 5 health potions mean for laning phase now? Well, think of how much HP Jacky had in terms of healing. It's about 1050 HP. That's 2 life bars, or 2 extra life bars at level 1. And the reason he has so much AP, or HP, regeneration, is just because he wants to sit in lane, farm a bit. The flask is going to be nice for the mana regeneration, and you'll note he only uses the flask once he's used some mana to make that back up. It's thrown me off at first too, but there are people who are buying 5 health potions and flask and using the flask when they are at max mana. Just don't worry about it. It's okay. But why is flask a good item? Why is this useful? Well, think of the math. Think of the math behind it. This is where I'd say the Season 3 changes can be really, really easy to break down in some regards. But if you look at the math behind a flask, how much does it sell for? 90 gold. How much does it cost? 225. So if you sell it, you're at a net loss of 135. Every time you go back to base, you get 2 health potions and a mana potion, more or less. And it takes about the same amount of time for the health potion to take mana potion, a little bit longer. But in layman's terms, as long as you use 7 charges, I think it more or less balances out. If you use more than 7 charges, congratulations, you're ahead in gold. If you've been watching any of the 1v2 lanes that have happened, not a lot have happened, but there are a lot of people who just go ahead, buy Crystalline Flask, 5 health potions, and they just don't die. That is their goal, and that is kind of what laning's become. You have options to not die. Actually, look, bottom lane, Cho'Gath had a flask. He had a lot of potions to go with that. And so did Olaf up top. Also, I believe Jacky started with Ward too. Okay. Reginald, back in the mid lane. He does not have his flash up. Jacky doesn't have his ignite up. He might be able to survive the burst, but talking about Veigar specifically. What do you want to do as Veigar? Well, your lane control is weird. It's not good. It's not amazing. It's there though. You can spam Baleful Strike non-stop, and the damage is pretty decent. But the cooldown starting out, it does reduce over time. And as you can see, like, that's high damage, but he can't spam that necessarily. And despite the fact that they had the earlier jump on Reginald, that was still a 1-for-1 exchange. Reginald did die first, of course, but that's kind of showing that, well, he had Ignite, but how much more sustained damage a Teemo can do at this point. And that's because Jacky, he's not about sustained damage, though his damage is incredibly good. Look at that burst, look at that burst. But then look how long it takes to finish off and get this kill. It takes another 6 seconds for Baleful Strike to come off cooldown. This is how Veigar plays. His damage is really high. When he has his skills up, when he lands that Dark Matter is a ridiculous spell. It deals 120 damage base at rank 1. It's also super hard to land. So, as you can see, Jacky, he's had backup for all these ganks. He can try and set up a kill on his own once he hits level 6 and he has the damage, but it's going to be hard to land Dark Matter no matter what. Baleful Strike, until you reach rank 5 with it, it does have a decently long cooldown at 6 seconds, 5 seconds, and 4 seconds. 4 seconds is pretty nice, but 6 seconds, that's a lot of Teemo auto attacks. So Jacky's been playing far back, and mostly, like, he does go aggressive, he does fight back when Reginald tries to hit him. But he's not forcing engages. That's important to know. Veigar is a character who was more or less designed to be a farmer in that sense. He gets AP with every kill he gets from Baleful Strike. Jacky's not doing that a whole lot, but that's because he's waiting until he can comfortably start farming. So don't get trapped with Veigar like you will with Nasus. Nasus is a character who has to farm up his Q. If he doesn't, he is useless. He is just a big ball of meat that just takes damage, and there are better characters for that. You go Mundo top if you wanted that. Nasus, if you do not get his Q, it's weak. That is not the case with Veigar. Veigar, it's awesome. If you get to free farm as Veigar and get just incredibly high ability power, you'll just eliminate people from the map. You can just take one person out of every team fight guaranteed, more or less. It's it's not like 100%. They can, use QSS, maybe have a GA. But if you're getting free farm, then at the 20-minute mark, chances are no one can survive your burst and you can control the game. However, Jacky, he's not getting free farm. He's waiting until he has a damage, and he's getting into a good situation. Look at that trade. That was Reginald getting an auto attack off, didn't get the blinding dart off, and I believe with the build he's going for, Toxic Shot is being maxed out first. I think actually that might have just been a one blinding dart. But still, Jacky can trade with the best. Reginald lands his damage, guess what? He gets blown up. Now, look how quickly that happened. Look how quick the burst is. And just crunch the math in your head. So, Veigar is a weird character because you can't predict all the damage he's going to do. I mean, let's look at this quickly. So it's 245 plus Dark Matter is 170. It's going to be about 415 plus Primordial Burst, which is going to be about 310. So that's 720 damage plus Ignite, which I think is about 200 at this point. That is not what I want to know, tooltip. So he can do 900 damage in burst. Reginald, how much HP did he have? About 800. However, Reginald also has a little bit of AP, so the damage is increased by a tiny bit. And just with the Dark Matter, I believe, tick from Ignite combo, he's taken down to 200 HP. And then guess what? Flash for the kill. That's how Veigar works. That is the basis for Veigar. And he is someone, against some characters, you have to get these kills. It's like if you were going up against a Karthus, you better start killing Karthus once you hit level 6, level 7. Because if you don't, he's just going to be able to die in a good position. And it's what you have to worry about is Veigar. It's like, what if they get someone like a tanky AP that builds a lot of MR and HP, like maybe Ari, who goes Abyssal and just a tankier build, Abyssal Rylai's. So your goal when you're playing Veigar is to passively farm early on, but once you hit level 6, against some lanes, against the lanes you can kill, you go aggressive. You don't necessarily go all in, unless you're guaranteed the kill, which Jacky was in that case, but you pressure like an asshole. You have this big, the only way I can describe the Event Horizon, the stun, is it's a big fuck-off cage. And if you're not respecting the big fuck-off cage, look at Reginald here. Jacky doesn't have his ult up. He's still taking a tremendous amount of damage. What does Jacky have for items? A Doran's Ring and Sork Shoes. Those are his DPS items. How much AP does he have from Baleful Strike? 30, which is not bad, about half his CS. A lot of that's actually from champion kills. But still, he does not have a lot in terms of items, but still, the base damage on Dark Matter is so ridiculously high. And Baleful Strike is also amplifying itself in Dark Matter as well, that you have just this control, this big threat. Every time Jacky puts an Event Horizon down, it's a chance for Reginald to take either a full HP of burst, like his entire life bar, or maybe 2/3 if the ultimate isn't up. Possibly a little less, possibly a little more. In that case, just Dark Matter, Baleful Strike, taking out about 1/3 of Reginald's life. And Jacky, he's going aggressive with his stun. Going aggressive with his stun is scary because it leaves you open to ganks. But look, the vision from Curse, it's pretty damn good. Jacky knows that he doesn't have coverage over here, so there could be like a flash shenanigan, so he's been hanging out back into the left. Warding tips. If you are playing mid lane, you don't necessarily have to ward everything. Like a ward here is nice because you will spot it invade, or not invade. Actually, that's for the other team. That's for blue side, never mind. Let's say you could spot the mid laner going bot, but that's only if they cut through here. Here, if Reginald, for example, cuts through Wraith Camp, he won't be spotted. But that's not a big deal because you don't expect Teemo to gank. But if you have that one area that you're not comfortable with, because here, what if Odd One flashes and Twisted Advances over the wall, then you just don't be by that side. So Jacky, he knows he's going to be safe over here. I mean, Dyrus comes for a gank, he spotted out, Jacky's actually going to go be aggressive towards him. But he can hang by the side because he knows where the danger is. So when you have only one ward in the mid lane, which is going to be very often, you want to stick by it. You want to be closer to that side of the map just because you know it's safe. And here he can bait that Odd One and Dyrus out because, well, they're both... Oh, actually, Odd One was on his own ward. Too many wards now. There are too many wards from Sightstone, even though none of those wards came from a Sightstone. Still, though, idea applies. There's a ward here, so Jacky stays closer to this area because he knows he's safe. Now, Jacky has blue buff. That's pretty important. He got it from Reginald earlier when Reginald tried to be in lane, and he's getting a lot of farm with it. If you can get blue buffs with Veigar, it's a pretty big deal. It increases your farming potential because you have a lower cooldown on Baleful Strike, so it's down to 3 seconds, and you just get more control for it. Now, this is why I said he has to kind of control the lane early, or post 6. Saint Vicious playing Mundo, like he's trying to roam in the jungle, trying to be, not even go for a gank, but show his presence, but he's spotted out by mushrooms and takes a lot of damage. If this is a Teemo-specific case, Teemo's so hard to gank that if you cannot handle a Teemo lane on your own, it's usually a big problem. And who can handle mid Teemo? Well, really, almost any AP can. You just have to get far enough ahead. You can't be behind AP Teemo. If he builds tanky or if you just get by mushrooms, it's going to be a huge pain. But Jacky, what has his goal been? Well, farm, pressure Teemo. Farm, pressure Teemo. He's not going for the super heavy farm over here. He can't kill Wraiths quickly enough. Jacky, he can deal a lot of damage, but Dark Matter still has a 10-second cooldown, and getting through Wraiths would mean you take a lot of damage in response. So what's he just going to do? Just going to farm, buy when he has a lot of gold, farm, buy when he has a lot of gold. Now he has a large rod, Sork shoes, Amplifying Tome. Reginald is in grave danger every time Jacky shows up in lane because a burst combo will kill him. There is no doubt about that. Reggie with only 1200 HP, that health crystal ain't going to help you, man. And Veigar, what's he doing? Just farming. You might wait till level 11 to go for the burst just so he has a shorter cooldown on the ultimate and a lot more damage, but that is just the goal. Farm. Also, neat little trick there. You can tell he stacked the crystalline flasks. I don't know if you can do that anymore, but you used to be able to do a lot to a much higher extent, but show up in lane and have that taken away for a few seconds just in case you do take any damage. But this is I'd say a focused way to play. So Reginald, is he gankable at this point? Not really. St. Vicious would have to buy oracles and get really lucky when he gets to gank off, so he doesn't want to do a bush with the mushroom in it. Jacky, he knows this, but he can win the lane. He can pressure Teemo, he can go ahead and do his own thing, so he's just playing aggressively, dealing that burst damage. There you go, Reginald barely surviving because Xpecial is pro, and then he dies because he couldn't get away. I just want to go over how much damage Jacky did there. Jacky is doing well, but he doesn't have the super duper high CS we sometimes see at the mid laners that, for example, Chaox and Cop have. But look how much damage Reginald takes. And this is the combo. You put a cage down either to land on them or that they'll walk into it in a brief second. About 1,300 damage. 1,330 damage is dealt instantly. The Xpecial catches it with the ultimate, keeps Reggie alive. Reggie might have been able to flash out of here. He thought he was dead, and that's why he didn't move back, which is understandable. He was in a situation where I think I'm gonna die. Why should I fight? Why should I blow flash and try to escape if I'm dead anyways? And he might have been able to get out. He might have been able to force Jacky to flash, but I don't think he was confident with that decision. He's one of those situations where he got so much HP back from Xpecial, and it surprised, like, he could have survived and blown a flash. But he just, Xpecial would heal him for that much. It's one of those confidence things. I think if this happened again, Reggie would not be caught by it. Still, though, that's what Veigar does. He does it again. Xpecial survives, but barely. And this is the best situation to be in is Veigar. By the way, the pronunciation is, I believe it's Veigar. It's Nordic, and I used to know this. Veigar himself is a tall Nordic man. That guy is like 6 foot, a billion. By the way, Jacky's dead. That is also a weakness of Veigar. you don't have mobility options. Your CC is not reliable. This isn't a Silence Stun. This isn't an RE Charm. RE Charm isn't reliable either, but usually it's a bit hard to avoid than that. So you have to watch out, because that Rune Prison, or not the Rune Prison, that Event Horizon, that big old cage, that big fuck off cage, it can be avoided. And if players do avoid it, if you're not landing your CC, you are very, very easy to burst. Veigar does not have good ranges. It's about any range for most of his spells. Dark Matter is pretty decent, but the ultimate and the Baleful Strike have low range, and that's important because when you cast those spells, when you unload that entire combo, it's going to be about a second where you'll just be there casting spells, going through the animations, and during that time, during that second of just killing someone, you can die yourself, you can be silenced, you can be punished pretty severely. So you have to be careful as Veigar. You have to expect that you are someone who can kill anybody on the enemy team almost instantly. The enemy team is going to recognize it, though, and they will blow you the fuck up. Now, let's talk about items. DFG, baby! DFG is an awesome item for Veigar. It was awesome before. It's still really good. Let's watch it in action. Does not kill Reginald. Reginald does survive very, very briefly, but the Ignite was not used, and the full combo did not land as expected. I believe the Dark Matter did not go down. But the process is use the DFG first. That way it amplifies all your magic damage, and you can time it like Jacky did right there to land at the same time as the ultimate. Now, Jacky doesn't have his ultimate up. TSM knows this, and they play far forward, they play a bit manly. That's because most of Jacky's reliable damage is tied to that ultimate. Baleful Strike hurts, it's a decent amount of damage, but Event Horizon has a long cooldown, and if Dark Matter does not land, that's a lot of Jacky's damage gone. This is something that most APs don't have to deal with. But without the ultimate, for example, Dyrus would have died there. That would have been a Dyrus kill. Maybe Blown Ghost was down, actually, so that would have just been a kill. Despite the fact that he had the ultimate, the damage would have been high enough, with a bit more aggression coming out from his team, possibly a flash, to secure it, or even just a rupture, just more focus, and that would have been very easily picked up. But that's the problem Veigar has. Too much of his damage is tied to the ultimate. Max Special, he dies. He gets caught out by the stun, just gets obliterated. And that's I'd say the two uses of Veigar. Your stun is amazing. Your stun, it's not easy to land. It has an incredibly long cooldown, but still, it's a 3-second space that you cannot traverse if you're on the enemy team. You can hang around in it, of course. You can pass through and get stunned, but that's 3 seconds where if they get anywhere near that prison, they're going to take a stun. They're going to just be susceptible to your own damage, to your team's damage, to any CC, anything required setup your team can do now. So right there, that like copied his ultimate off. Of course, Chaos flashed it and cleansed it, but still, it set up the situation where had Chaos not blown 2 summoners, he would have died. Because a lot more would have landed. A lot more and a lot scarier spells would have landed. We're only seeing the strengths of Veigar right now. We saw the weakness earlier. We're going to see his weaknesses still. But don't forget, when you do play Veigar, you are susceptible to the early lane bullying, which this game Jacky kind of played it aggressively just to fight back. And of course the early gank against Reginald really shut down that pressure. But remember, level 1, Jacky was forced to just walk back to his turret with about 100 HP after being ignited, after being Blinding Dart and Toxic Shot. He's getting shot in the butt as he backs up. But when you're playing a character like Veigar, you have to kind of think through it. You have to go, well, I know I have this massive flaw. How do I deal with that? How do I get past the early laning? Jacky's solution, aside from the early gank, which I recommend if you're a jungler, gank that Veigar. Or gank for that Veigar. He's got a good CC, and he's got a good burst, and if you start snowballing, man, he snowballs. But still, you have to remember, he's not going to have an easy laning phase. If you do get that gank off, if you do get to level 6, and you're scary and a little bit farther and the enemy mid doesn't have a lot of MR endurance, I mean, even someone like Galio, before he bulks up, is very, very susceptible to dying. That's when you kind of take control. You have this big fear that you instill. You have the threat of being instantly burst. Also, watch how Jacky kills wolves. He used Dark Matter, and then Dark Matter once just to take him on low, Baleful Strike on the smaller wolves, because at that point they're within kill range, and then he uses auto attacks and Baleful Strike to finish off the big wolf. Jacky, I don't know if he enters farm mode too severely this game, but kind of watch the pattern. Actually, he does so much damage that he wipes out the melee minions. But when people play Veigar, you can very quickly see people transition to farm mode, where they're just trying to buff up the Q. So right there, Jacky, like he's not going all out. All out would be getting a Q proc on every single creep right there, but he's trying to be efficient. He's trying to go through creep waves quickly, through the jungle camps quickly, and then still get his Baleful Strike proc, still get the extra AP. That's the thing about Veigar. I said before, don't be tied to leveling to maxing out your bonus AP, but you should still spend some time putting points into it. 61 AP at the 20-minute mark, that's pretty decent considering it's for free. I've seen higher APs, I've seen much higher APs, but these were in lanes that had a lot less pressure involved. Now, you're Jacky. You're Jacky the 20-minute mark. The damage you can deal is insane looking at the enemy team. What magic resist do they have? I mean, they have some HP on a few characters. Odd One has Ruby Sightstone, so does Xpecial. But Reginald is super squishy. Maokai's a bit tanky. Like, they have ways to maybe survive it. Like, the Lulu ultimate should be enough to keep people through his burst. But he still has that big threat. He still has that major presence. And he's gonna... His goal in teamfights will still be to blow one person up, even if he knows that they can possibly be saved. And that's just because that's what Veigar does. You don't really have other options. He's kind of like Annie in that regard. Think about what you do as Annie in a team fight. You stun a bunch of people, and then you try and blow one of them up while they're stunned, or blow all of them up with Incinerate. You don't really have many options. You can't be like Ahri, for example. Ahri can go aggressive, dive in, go out. Ahri can always play it all back. As Annie, it's like you drop your bomb and then you move Tivers to attack who you want it to attack, and then you just kind of go back and forth waiting for your cooldowns. Veigar's the same way. Veigar, it's like you have your chance to start a fight. If you're successful, awesome. If you're not successful, then hopefully they don't initiate onto you, and if they do, you blow them up. It's an interesting character because he does not have those dynamic choices as what to do. That doesn't mean he's easy to play. That doesn't mean it's like, oh yeah, you always know what to do. No, when you have a specific goal like that, it means that the enemy team probably knows it too. The enemy team probably knows what you want to do, and if that's the case, if you have one goal in mind, the enemy team knows it. They're going to be looking to stop you. They're going to be looking to punish you when you go for that burst. Dyrus, for example, looking at his build, he has a lot of HP. Does not have a lot of MR, but he gets quite a bit from his ultimate when it's activated. He's going to be looking just to dive Veigar, because he can't be caught out, he can't be CC'd. Hopefully he can scare Jack into trying to use a Dark Matter onto him. But what it comes down to is he has one goal, and the enemy team knows it. It's like when you see a Mumu moving forward, you know he wants to ult. When you see a Wukong trying to get in position, you know he wants to ult. Jacky, it's the same thing, except he just wants to ult one person. Now, TSM, the way they're playing this pretty well. This was a solid game from their part. The big hindrance was that Reginald did die early, and Jacky punished him for that non-stop. Like, holy crap, Jacky just completely decimated Reginald once he gave it that first blood. But even though TSM is behind 4 deaths, for example, they're still only ahead of 1.7k on Curse, which is about the difference in gold. But that's not the only advantage teams tend to have. Usually you see them with a major tower advantage, and they have a lot more global gold, stuff like that. So TSM, they're hanging on, they're doing okay. Okay is definitely the key word. Not doing great, and Curse are doing better. But you're Jacky. What do you build after your DFG? If this was Season 2, there'd be a very rigid build. DFG into the Rabadon's Death Calf, and then Void Staff, maybe a Zonia's if you need to not die. This is not Season 2, though. This is Season 3. He has options. They also have Baron possibilities on Curse. Now, the reason they're doing this Baron is because they saw someone towards the bot lane, and that's usually what you do in response. You pick up the Baron. Jacky taken down to about half HP. A lot of it's from Baron damage because he started the fight. And when they move forward, he takes damage from mushrooms. So TSM, they're going to look for this fight. They know how low everybody is on Curse. What is Jacky doing in this case? He's already laid down the stun. He uses it again when it pops back up. and he barely escapes. That's all he did. He laid down the stun twice. Curse, they pick up the Baron. They're in a better situation because they got the global gold, and they now have the buff, but now they can be pushed up against. But if you're Jacky, what did he do? This is a good example of Veigar only having one option. So I just want to kind of reduce the range. So we're zoomed in more. This is Jacky vision. Look for the person Jacky can ultimate. Look for the person Jacky can burst. And also look at his HP. He's going to go down to about 450 HP from the Timo Mushroom. So he's out in front. He flashes to get away. Who can he burst down? Odd One. Odd One is the only choice. He does go for that kill, but that's not who he wants to hit. That's not who he wants to wipe out of the fight. Odd One's great for the control, but they already have the control down. Killing Odd One doesn't benefit him. And this is the problem Veigar has. Who could he go for in that fight? He could not walk forward and spam onto Chaos. Chaos would have cleansed it earlier in the fight because he saw his cleanse up, and most likely just flashed or just walked away and not gotten hit, and Jacky in response would have taken a crap load of damage and died. So when you're someone like Veigar, it can be really, really hard to do it, but you just have to just change your focus sometimes. You have to not go for the squishies that you normally want to kill. It's like, obviously, you don't want to try and blow up someone that has 400 magic resist when you have no penetration. But there are going to be a lot of situations where you have that juicy target. Look at this Chaos. He's got 1700 HP. All of his bonus HP is coming from Endurance Blade, because none of that provides any tankiness. He's so killable right now. That dude is like super free if you're a Veigar. But Jacky's never getting in range of that. Jacky will never, ever land a safe root or a safe stun onto Chaos in the middle of a fight if he has cleanse up and his flash up. And if that's the case, if he dodges the Dark Matter, then he will survive most likely. So Jacky, he played that well. They were already in a very terrible spot. But given the situation, well, he won for the target that he had access to. He does the same thing here. I like that play a lot. He goes for the Odd One. They don't kill him, but they do force him back, and it's kind of he's going for the situations where he knows he can get something. A lot of people, they don't want to use that burst. They don't want to use that combo. And this applies to characters besides Veigar. It can apply to Caston, LeBlanc, and sometimes it's justified. If you can't go on an Olaf, for example, as Caston, he'll just chase you down. The physical damage and the true damage will be too much because you don't mitigate any of it, and he'll kill you. If you're playing someone like Veigar, sometimes you just gotta spam what you would like to spam on, preferably the AP carry or the AD carry. That very, very nice Primordial Strike, which does amazing amounts of damage. Sometimes you want to spam it on them, and they won't let you. They won't be in range. And if that's the case, you'll have to let it go. It's a thing where it's a positioning thing. Obviously, if Curse is in a good position, they can do something like that, where they just have Jacky blow up KX or Reginald. But TSM, they're trying to force positions where Jacky, to go far forward, to go for those kills, is just going to be in a dangerous spot. And that's how you play. That's how you stop someone like Veigar. You make sure your beefy front line, which they got to be very manly. You got to make sure that beefy front line is pressuring Veigar. We haven't seen it yet, but Dyrus is really, really damn good at killing Veigar. Also, I do love that this bush warded once catches two people. Luckily, this time it doesn't take Dyrus super low, so he has to retreat. He just farms top instead. Now, Jacky, what are his roles? Well, he's got the burst combo. He's also an initiator. Not the best initiator in the game because, he doesn't move forward, keep everybody locked down. But you're a catcher. You're someone who catches people when they're briefly out of position, even for a second. And you get decent poke on them in this case. Oops, that is not what I want to use. There we go. You get decent poke. It may not be enough for a kill, but it's enough to be threatening, it's enough to be scary. And if you do catch someone like KX, if you do catch who you want to catch, guess what? You can go forward and blow them up. Also, a lot is being done with this event horizon. So no one wants to move forward. So if you're, for example, KX or Special back here, and he puts down the event horizon again, you don't want to move forward through it. You're going to stay far back. This gives a chance for Curse to get some free tower auto attacks in. And if you look how Jacky was placing the event horizon, he was zoning out specifically at Special and Chaos. Veigar is a weird character because he does a lot of damage, but a lot of his strength comes from the fear people have of his burst. So if you burst someone down once, they'll be scared of you later, and you can kind of take that very, very well and play aggressively in lane at the same time trying to farm up a lot. And that's just how he plays. He also has this threat later where that room or that event horizon. I keep wanting to say rune prison because it seems like a prison, where that event horizon can land anywhere and just shut people down. TSM, they were feeling cautious. They go for an actual ultimate, and they want Darius to follow up with his own ultimate, running through traps to set up a kill. Does not happen successfully. So now Veigar is really good at catching people out every 15 seconds with his event horizon. Actually down to 11 now, so go blue buff. Chaos with his Ashel can only do that every 90 seconds. So now is the time for Curse to go a little bit more aggressive. They can be a bit meaner. Teemo mushrooms are going to be a huge burden. But look at what Reginald has to survive through. This is kind of like watch Jacky in the back line. He goes forward when he realizes it's safe, when he realizes he's not going to be focused, but I mean, all he's kind of doing is moving back and forth, looking for chances to get his burst combo off. I just want to show the combo that he performs. So it's important to remember, whoa! Sorry. I'm too used to right click because I use right click at IPL. So my bad. So the combo starts with DFG. It's going to start with DFG every time you're trying to burst one single target down. If you want to get a baleful strike at a Primal, or not Primal, a burst dark matter down for harass and damage, yeah, go for it, go crazy, go nuts. But when it comes for the kill, DFG should be going first. When the dark matter lands, the DFG buff is or debuff is already on Reginald, and so he took an extra 20% magic damage from that full combo, gets obliterated. Reggie doesn't do a whole lot though. He's only 1/6, does not deal the most damage, does not have that much farm, and the kill on him is nice, but it's not amazing. The rest of this fight, this is KX carry. It's a lot of damage comes out from Curse, but KX himself does a lot in response, and it's it's a 1-for-1, but they still take out that blue turret, so better for Curse overall. There we go. That looks a little better. Now, Jacky's build. This is not a common build that I'd ever seen before, because I hadn't really seen people play Veigar before. Why is he going for this build? So, what are the threats on the enemy team? This is something that people don't do that often, but it's important to do that. Just look at the enemy team, look at what's scary to you. So Reginald, what's scary about Teemo? The mushrooms. If he's ever hit by Blinding Dart and Toxic Shot, it means one of two things. It means Cop is already dead, which is a bad situation to be in, and if they're being chased down and Cop's already dead, it means they messed something up. He can also be getting hit by the mushrooms, though. So he might just want some extra HP to survive those surprise mushrooms, because they do hurt. It is an AP Teemo that is 500 damage and Leandry's Torment damage coming out, which will really shake things up. Chaos, he's scared of Chaos for the range damage. We saw it before. And of course for the ultimate. Ultimate he can't really deal with. He needs either a Crucible to be used onto him or to buy a Quicksilver Sash. So that's not a big thing. Everything else is like, well, if Chaos is auto-attacking him and not dying, then chances are something has already gone wrong. Odd One, the initiation is scary on him. He needs to play far back, no way to really counter it. X Special, he's scared of the slow, and Darius, he's scared of Darius just jumping on his face and killing him. That right there was Jacky dying, and that is just Jacky not having the Quicksilver Sash. That is something that scared him before, but he didn't get shell out the cash for it, which makes sense because normally people don't at that point, because you want more damage. That's not guaranteed he's going to be hit by that CC. This makes his build make sense though, because he has a DFG, he goes for the Twin Shadows, which give him a bit of movement speed, which is going to be very, very important to getting away from Darius if he does chase him down. It won't save him, but it'll help out, at least a tiny bit. And Haunting Guys is also going to help out a little bit for the HP, and the Magic Penetration is now a really great stat. TSM, they're going for Baron. Jacky is dead. Baron does a lot of damage now, or actually has a lot more HP, not a lot of damage. And with the extra HP, it's really, really damn hard to kill him. So TSM, instead of trying to take down Baron from that high percentage, just go ahead and turn on to St. Vicious, take him out. And they're just trying to go ahead and put that aggression on. KX survives because he's bro, But the other one doesn't. And neither does that survive that? Hey, Darius does survive that. Gotta stop pressing that. I don't know why I've been playing other games and keep getting used to right click and drag for some reason. Oh, Saints Row, that's why. Because I'm trying to shoot people. I'm trying to zoom in with a camera. Still though, they're able to go ahead, push back. Jacky's back, has the threat, dodges the ultimate, and what can he do? He zones out with the stun. Obviously wanted to land the stun, but the threat is still there, the fear is still there. They cannot go forward because they'll be CC'd and died. Curse, though, they're also scared because Void has no HP and neither does Elements. It's literally just Jacky and Cop who could tank damage. And if that's the case, if that's your tank line, you got problems when Veigar and Caitlyn are trying to take the brunt of your team's damage. So just another recap. Veigar, what are his strengths? It's pretty much a two-trick pony. Trick number one, crapload of burst. If you land the stun on somebody, you follow up with Dark Banner, Baleful Strike, Primordial Burst. If you have a DFG, use that beforehand. Ridiculously high damage. It's awesome. What is his other strength? He has a great intimidating factor, and his stun. His stun is really good. You can catch people out, and it zones people out. See, Reginald there just has to back up. They cannot move there for 3 seconds. It's like an Anivia wall, but not as obvious. Not as, well, not, it's more obvious even, but it's not as enforcing in his movement. Now Jacky, he's fighting Darius. This is a great play from TSM, and Darius in particular, and good play from Jacky. He survives for a little while, does get taken down by the odd one's ult, but this is a prime example of a good dive from a tank line. I'm going to cover it, and Jacky handles it well too. He fights back. A lot of people would try and retreat. Jacky was in a position where he literally could not retreat. Okay, so watching a front line go in like that. The reason this is so impressive to me is because you don't see good examples of this. North America is particularly bad at it. And also you don't see good examples of teams fighting back the tank line. So Darius, he sped up. They want Darius in there first. He does a lot of damage with that Black Cleaver. He's very tanky, has 200 MR. It's going to be hard for him to get taken down. That's 4,000 HP. Odd One shows up at the same time. He's walking in position to try and get the ultimate down. He doesn't do that quite quickly enough. Like, he was going for the Baron Seal first, and unfortunately by the time the ultimate comes down, it's as Darius died. But still, the idea is there. It's going to be Olaf diving with Maokai to take down Jacky. What does Jacky do? Jacky fights back. So does Cop. They're taking out the front line first, and teams tend to have a nasty habit where they always go for the AD carries. There they turn the front line, which means Cop is just in the back, playing very safely. As that. Oh, Crucible was used on the odd one to try and keep him alive. But because they take out the front, the diving part of the team, that lets Cop clean up in the end. And Jacky, he knew it was either fight or die, and he uses ultimate combo. He uses burst on an incredibly tanky Darius. But that was the right call. That let him not survive, but that let him pick up the kill quickly enough so that the rest of his team could just finish off that fight. That's just something weird to see, but obviously that's one of Veigar's weaknesses. He doesn't have escape options if someone has a cleanse, if someone has a way to get through CC. Unfortunately for Jacky, because he was in the Baron Pit, and he didn't have his flash quite up, it's up now, it was almost up at the end of that fight, because he didn't have flash and he was stuck in the Baron Pit, well, Twin Shadows did nothing. Twin Shadows could not help him whatsoever against Olaf. Helped a little bit against the odd one, actually. But the move speed did nothing. Like, he was stuck in a position where this item only helped him do damage, even though it's there to make him tank a bit more. Because, of course, Olaf does physical and true damage. I love this chase. I don't know why, I just find it funny, because it's Darius just throwing axes at Voidboy's butt. Look at that axe at a butt. Oh, look, more axes hitting his butt. He's just hitting his butt. He's hitting his butt so hard. And that's it. And it's not really scary. It's just that butt's being hit. By the way, Mikhail's Crucible is an item that is really, really good, but also really tricky to use because it's odd to have a cleanse on a 3-minute cooldown for someone else. This is Darius making a big mistake. That Jacky's playing it properly. Going for the burst, does not use his ultimate because he knows he doesn't need to. And now he has that 72-second cooldown up for the next fight. Also, he does ridiculous amounts of damage. 900 damage with the ultimate. Gonna be a good 465 with Baleful Strike. And guess what? Dark Matter hits for 668 too. Dark Matter will always hit more than Baleful Strike when they're the same level. just because it does more base damage, it has a higher AP ratio. Dark Matter is the key, I'd say, to mastering Veigar. Once you start getting that combo down, that combo is going to be, you put down the event horizon. If you anticipate someone to walk into the stun, you put your Dark Matter by that part of the stun. So watch Jacky, watch when he puts down the Rune Prison, or the event horizon, and watch where he places Dark Matter afterwards. That's where he thinks someone is going to walk into. You can always go ahead and wait for it once you have enough points into event horizon, and this is just used for disengagement, which is a great use, by the way. But once you have enough points, it's a 2-second stun, so you can just be a bit more casual about it. I believe that's a second delay on Dark Matter. TSM they're chasing. It's currently a 4v5 as Dyrus has respawned and St. Vicious is not there. Boy, his butt, once again, was being looked at but not being hit this time, and they'll just walk away from that. Which is really bad for TSM because they're behind 7,000 gold. Part of the enemy team has Baron, and ooh, you don't want to be going up against that. I would like to say TSM did end up winning this series. They played Curse twice in the tournament, beat them 2-0 the first time, and 2-1 the second time. So fight starts, Assault misses. TSM, this is their last chance. This is their last hold. Jacky puts down the stun, goes for the odd one because he sees him go into it, and that's kind of this thing. When you see someone that you're just going to catch out with Dark Matter, even if it's not the prime target, you kind of have to go for it, just because Dark Matter is not reliable. Dyrus trying to chase down Jacky. What is Jacky doing? He's fighting back against Dyrus, and this is just what we saw last time. They take out the tank line, they can turn around and just chase down the rest of TSM, and that's done perfectly. That right there, that was the combo. I'm just going to show it again because it is important to note that. That is kind of the crux of playing Veigar. Landing your event horizon in such a position where people are almost guaranteed to walk into it. Good jukes can always stop it. There is a bit of a brief delay on event horizon. So you can kind of see it here. He flashes, does a short cast animation, and Xpecial walks right into it. Before Xpecial even gets hit though, the Dark Matter is coming down, and then it whoomp. Jacky's burst hits, and you can tell when he hits because Xpecial loses all of his HP. Curse though, I mean, they took out 3 members of TSM. Reginald can't do a lot in team fights at this point. It's a 5v2. Even if Reginald could do a lot, it's over. They play a great game on Curse. TSM, they got punished super hard for that Teemo pick and that Teemo aggression. This also happened during the actual game. I don't know why there was a double Nexus explosion. Oh, I had chat enabled for this. Did they surrender at the end? Was that it? Whoa. I saw a surrender vote. Totally saw a surrender vote. I can look at chat. I had no idea. Huh. Okay, that was it. They do surrender, causing the double Nexus explosion. It's really hard to time that, by the way. If you want to go for double Nexus explosion. Now let's go ahead and... Whoops. I was looking at the lyrics to a song by a band called Starfucker. Anyhow, song meanings comments are the best, by the way. Just want to say shout outs to anybody who's ever read a song meanings comment because they're all amazing. Now, what really was different in that game from Season 1? Or not Season 1, Season 2. Season 1, very different. Well, the items opening up and the item progression. These were all item changes. But what did it mean for Veigar? It meant that Veigar, his burst combo, it's actually the same. The Deathfire Grass burst combo is the same as it used to be, but DFG, I'd say it's more effective early now because you're not using that low base AP ratio as the crux of your opening nuke. Now you're using something that has no scaling, but scales everything else you do, and it works super well. Now, what's Season 3? Was that the broken Veigar build? I don't know. I have no idea. Very few people do. I think Murrowman would be good on him, but I don't know if that's going to be better on him. I don't know if that'll be effective on him. Maybe it's a good gimmick. You have to really kind of look at everything that could happen. You have to play a lot of games, but make sure every time you play those games, every time you're playing a game of League of Legends right now, you're trying something new. You're trying to think about what other possibilities there are. Now, I'm going to be doing a longer video, and, well, not longer. Adjectives are not my forte right now. I'm doing a different video, kind of looking at the changes overall in a more holistic sense. But those specific ideas, those specific strengths on champions, I'm just gonna like shout out 3 things. Black cleavers on Talon, 2 black cleavers, 1 last whisper. I think is optimal build. You can get more black cleavers later if you want. Muramana on Rise, specifically Muramana, and rushing Sightstone on support. So those are all really trendy things right now. Are they right? Maybe. Well, Black Cleaver on Talon that is just too good not to do. But the Muramana on Rise are you giving up too much in terms of tankiness early on to get that fast? Is it a better late game item? Is it even better than the Mana Shield? Maybe you just need to survive as Rise. Rushing a Sightstone, that is something that some supports do, some supports haven't. X-Special, I'm going off his reasoning, and I like X-Special. I like very few support players. I'm very, very cautious, but every support player has different opinions anyways, so it works out. But X-Special is a support player I like, and his reasoning is the math works out. You end up saving money for going for an early Sightstone, plus you get the cool ward control. So what's right? I'll tell you in a week what I think is right, but that's the big thing. There's a lot of think. There's a lot of I think this is good. I think this is the most effective. This probably is the best. If someone is speaking in concrete terms, they're doing it just because it's easier to speak like that. If someone goes up to you and says, this is the best build in League of Legends right now, and if it doesn't involve black cleavers on an assassin or bruiser, they do not know if they're right for sure. Maybe Muramana on Rise. I really think that's broken too. But yeah, this is Studio. Saying adios, folks. I'll be doing the video tomorrow, looking at more of the roles, and I'll probably be posting another mailbag video. But yeah, adios, folks.